I think that's a very good point. So you have to be approximately right. But then how do we avoid being absolutely wrong? Is the question. So how do you know where in the cycle we are for a newbie? Because I think that is where a lot of people like end up losing a lot of money because they enter at the
So
wrong time.
again, as I said, if you look at all these things, okay, you look at, for example, operating profit margins, and all, that will give you a picture, okay, where we are in the cycle. Okay. You have past cycles, right? There's so much data available right now.
Mhm.
Previously, we had to, basically kind of, crunch the data ourselves. But now with Screener and which my friend Ayush and
Yeah,
Pratyush
that's
have
true. True.
uh,
True.
created, it's amazing
Like
tool. I
really
mean,
hats off to them. Like
right?
really excellent tool.
That's after them, right? So much data is available. You just have to basically look for it. You have to understand the business. Uh, it, it, the thing is, it is not very difficult if you can control your greed and fear. Okay,
Mhm.
and that is the most important and the most difficult thing to do. To be honest, also. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, but if you can, and as I said, no, you don't have to basically be absolutely right. You don't need to be. The thing is, what you said, you don't have to be wrong. Okay, and that when will that happen? When, and I'll give you an example. You'll be wrong when it's a very good example. Okay, so this is a stock. Okay, okay. So at 4,500, can you see the chart?
Yes, yes, sir, I can.
Okay. So at 150, the PE of the stock was 150. Okay. At the price of 150, the PE of the stock was 150. It was doing an earning of 1 rupee. Okay, this is extreme example, but I just want to bring out very important aspect.
Mhm.
At 4,500, the PE of the stock was 5.
Mhm.
It was earning more than 800 rupees. Okay.
Right, right.
All this happened in just less than 2 years, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you were to look at PE, you would have invested at 4,500, right? And a lot of
Right,
people
right.
did. Okay. 4,500 or 3,800 or something. Now, understanding that PE is the worst metric to look for,
Mhm.
this is a fantastic example for that.
Mhm.
So, what do you look at? You look at what are the
Mhm.
you look at the margins. This will give you
Interesting.
a better picture
Mhm.
always. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you know that something is doing 63% of
Mhm.
OPMs or
Mhm.
70% of OPMs, you know that it is not going to sustain. So you
So,
don't get in at that point in time. At
right,
this
right,
point, the ratios are superb.
right.
Okay, the ROE is superb, the ROC is superb.
Mhm.
All the earning ratios are superb,
Right.
right? Uh, so people will say that, oh, this is a fantastic company, this is earning this much ROE and this much. You have
Mhm.
to understand that these are extraordinary earnings uh, and extraordinary
Mhm.
return ratios,
So just
which
a
are not
question
going to
on
sustain.
this slide. Sorry if I interrupted you.
Sure.
On the same slide. So if you look at the 2018 numbers, right, the operating margins went as high as 63%, right? So
Right.
it was definitely not a good time to enter the stock. But then
That's right.
it maybe it was a time to exit. But if you look at 2019, the margins expanded even further, right? They
Yeah.
went up to 71%. So
Right.
then my question is related to the length of the cycle. So how long will the down cycle be? How long will the up cycle
So
be?
again, yeah. So again, this you show, if you look at the quarterly numbers, this will not be over 2 years. Okay.
Hmm.
This will be maybe 5 or 6 quarters. Okay. And I remember doing seminars in 2017, 18, and 19, and where questions were asked to me about this company, and I had told that in my experience, I have seen these kind of margins not last, and this I call as something which might be right term or wrong, but something which I have introduced the first time, whiplash cycles. So whiplash cycles just don't last very long, is what my understanding is over the years I've seen. So this was kind of basically a cycle which was like a whiplash, that just margins went through the roof. uh,
Mm.
and I've seen that they will not last long. So again, here this, and I'll be frank enough to admit that, you know, I kind of got into this stock, okay, around 170, and I exited the stock at around 1400. It went all the way to 4500. So I exited early. I submit to that. I've said that openly also, that I exited early. Okay.
Mm.
And that is again a learning which you have, that these kind of cycles can take the stock to much higher prices. So that
Mm.
is where, you know, I kind of introduced the trailing stop loss method in
Mm.
my mix of, strategies. So ideally, I would, put a stop loss like, that, if the stock corrects 20% from the top, you know, you get out. So
Mm.
that is 15%, 20%, 10%, depending on your risk appetite and this thing. So
Mm.
that is when I introduced this, and this has worked for me in future. So key learning for me also was that, though I made, you know, 8x or something on this stock, I could have made much more. I could have made a 20, 25x, right? Uh, and so again, uh, there is no such thing that you are expert in anything, right? You keep on learning, you keep on adding strategies
Mm.
to your armor.
So